We are recapping the Bears' first win of the season and looking at some of the most activated players in CBS Sports Leagues right now on Fantasy Football Today in 5. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm filling in for Chris Towers tonight. I'm Adam Azer, new to this hosting thing, so please be patient. I'm joined by Jamie Eisenberg. And Jamie, I have an apology to give you from Thomas Schaefer. He said, please apologize to Jamie for me. See, Schaefer traded DJ Moore to me in our Superflex League, and I am facing you this week. So sorry from Thomas. 45 points for DJ Moore.
I mean, look, he was awesome. I will say this though, I started last week against George Maselli in that league on Thursday night, Jordan Love and Romeo Dobbs, and got off to a huge start in that same league and lost. So we shall see how that goes. Look, DJ Moore, I'll tell you what, I have one league where I have Justin Fields as a keeper, and I drafted DJ Moore over Keenan Allen. And I've had buyer's remorse for a month. And I did that with the idea of, you know what? I had them back to back in my rankings. I had gone back and forth probably for several weeks on those two guys. And I was like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do?
Hey, look what I did.
It's a fun night tonight.
Yeah, so that's two great games in a row for Fields. 36 points, 41 points. DJ Moore scored a touchdown or had 100 yards in 4 straight games now. Is this a buy, sell, or hold situation for those two players specifically?
I think it's a hold. I don't know at what point we're going to look back on the start of the season and say the Packers game plan for probably a month against the Bears, and he was mediocre in that game. I would say it's fair. Played a Bucks team that we're probably going to look back on and say very underrated, by what the thought process was. I think even if he was playing well going into Arrowhead, he would have struggled, probably not to the same extent.
Are you talking about Fields or Moore?
I'm talking about Fields.
Okay.
And then, I think coming into these last 2 games, I mean, you know how I felt about him last week against the Broncos. That was, I think sort of like just hey, I could still do this, and play at a high level. And then, taking advantage of this matchup. I led the start sit column today about what to do with Justin Fields. And I said, you start him. I mean, it's plain simple. He can still be a breakout candidate. So, he's looking the part. And he's looking the part because now he has a legit number 1 receiver. I mean, you saw this game. He had, I don't think it was Mooney's fault, but he had Mooney open on a couple times that they didn't connect. And that was probably some of the struggles last year from a passing perspective, that he didn't have that kind of player. And again, I don't want to say this is a Darnell Mooney thing, but you see Kmet as a red zone threat now, back-to-back weeks. You see, what Fields can still do with his legs too. I mean, the production is there, the confidence is there. Again, you remember what we said about Trevor Lawrence last year? He's looking the part.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields looking the part. And the offensive line held up today. It's fun to watch.
All right, we got about 2 minutes left, so let's go through the rest of this here. The tight ends in this game, Kmet and Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas with a huge game.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. He went berserk. 77 yards and a touchdown on 11 targets and 9 catches. Did have a fumble as well. You buying into them as at least must-add players. Logan Thomas, 28% rostered. Cole Kmet is 80% rostered, 52% started. Actually, let me ask you, are you buying them as must-start players?
Cole Kmet's a must-start player. And I think Logan Thomas is definitely somebody we're going to talk about on Tuesday about picking up. You want to talk about another transaction? I had David Njoku as my only tight end in the Big Burger going into last week. I picked up Gerald Everett with the thought of he was really the only one available. It's $100 fab that you have it set at, and I spent $11 on Logan Thomas just because he was the only tight end with a pulse.
Nice.
And I was like, did I really just spend $11 on Logan Thomas?
I
spent $11 on Logan Thomas.
You have Sam Howell, DJ Moore, and Logan Thomas in that league, and you are, by the way, a 51% favorite.
Against Heath's juggernaut because he's finally gotten healthy. Yeah, so we'll see if I end up pulling that one off. But in any event, Logan Thomas, I think, is definitely somebody that, look, we've seen what he's been. We've seen what this offense has been for tight ends. Eric Bieniemy's called a lot of plays for the tight ends. Sam Howell's certainly leaned on the group of tight ends. Thomas has already missed the game. This is probably going to be his best game of the season. But, when we start to look at more bye weeks coming, the struggles of Goddard, Waller, Kittle, Pitts, those guys, if he has another game where he's semi-relevant, you're going to be starting him for probably the remainder of the season. So absolutely should be picking him up with the way Sam Howell's playing. It's unfortunate because the thing's coming at the expense of Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, and those guys were coming off productive games. McLaurin certainly started to look better. He had a lot of pass interference calls, or one big pass interference call in the end zone, one that should have been a pass interference call. I think that didn't get called. So he was getting some targets down the field, but the Bears were making a concerted effort to take away the downfield throws.
Well, I think it's a shame you get 51 pass attempts from Sam Howell, and 10 of them go to those two wide receivers, Dotson and McLaurin. It's just like, when can you even trust them? Curtis Samuel scores a touchdown. Real quick here on the most activated list, players who are seeing the biggest jump in their start percentage from last week to this week, not including the Thursday night guys. David Montgomery is 92% started. Cooper Kupp is currently only 49% started. That's going to go way up. Christian Watson is 71% started, and Marquise Brown is up to 73% started. Does that sound right to you? Watson and Marquise Brown over 70%.
Yeah, again, we're in the bye weeks. Brown's been very productive. It's going to be an early interesting matchup because the Bengals have done a good job against perimeter wide receivers. And then Watson, you're just hoping that, okay, past the hamstring injury, no more limitations, he should be good to go.
All right. I think Jamie has to go to HQ as we hear that in the background. So thank you, Jamie. Thank you all for watching and listening. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Fantasy Football Today in 5.